I don't want to do it.
Thank you very much. So we'll be tuning in soon for Ask a Therapist number... Well, I guess there's no way of knowing because you don't want to do it. So let's hear more about it.
Well, essentially, I've been extremely supportive. I believe, and I think you would agree of this path that you're taking, to leave your job, to leave a comfortable financial opportunity or whatever it is. See, completely lack of, don't want to do it, just don't want to do it. Been very supportive, in fact, encouraging you to leave your job and to pursue Freedom on Radio full time. Knowing full well that from a financial aspect we can manage, we'll do beautifully, that this is something that I've known about you in terms of your thoughts, feelings, desires, your capacity from the day that we met, essentially, that you want to do this, you need to do this, and have, felt your struggle, felt your frustration, felt your desire, seen how frustrated you are with the business world, knowing that you don't have that frustration, that irritability, the tension that you do with the business world when you're doing Free Domain Radio. You're full of energy, you're full of enthusiasm, you're full of...
And I get enraged at different things.
Yeah, you get enraged at different things.
Technical issues and so on. But it's the different rage is like no rage. It's like a change is as good as a break.
Absolutely. And yeah, I want you to be happy, and not only do I want you to be happy, but I believe in what it is that you're doing, and I think that it's essential, and you've said that the world needs it, and I agree with you, and you're the only one that can give it to the world. You're the only one who can provide this service for the world, because the world is crying out for help. I'm not even sure what.
Well, it's been a struggle to get you on air. It's been a struggle to get you on the board, because you don't see that as your role. You don't see that as something you want to do, and it's caused a lot of problems in our relationship, and there's been a lot of breakthroughs in it, but it's caused some real problems for me to jam a mic in your face and say, go talk. But the thing we talked about yesterday was the reason that it can't work without you is that your knowledge, like your existence, has been revealed, right? So if you're the psychologist, and obviously you're an excellent speaker and so on, and you are not unused to speaking to people about issues, because that was most of her dating. I'm sorry, I mean, that was most of your you work with your patients. If you ended up not being part of the show, it would be for one of two reasons: either because you didn't believe in what I was doing, in which case my credibility would crater, right? Or it would be because you did believe in what I was doing, but you were too afraid to speak, or too self-conscious, in which case I would say, well, we marry people of like self-esteem, and therefore my credibility would plummet, because it would look like I'd married, I think the technical term is a fraidy cat.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why it became sort of impossible not to have this be part of, and not to have you at some level. And it's not like you have to do every second podcast, because that would be like death for me. But but it is that if you're not participating at all, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, and I think the war or the conflict within myself is that I have this capacity to do great things, and I don't want to accept it, and that's my history. That every time I tried to speak the truth or tried to say something that was worthwhile, I got ignored, or I got attacked, and so I have this fear of speaking up. I have this fear of speaking up, that if I speak up, I have this association in my mind that the world is hurtful. And of course that's mistaking my parents for the world, which is not the case. My parents and my community was incredibly stifling. Incredibly stifling, and filled with a bunch of second-handers, to use a term out of Ayn Rand. So anyone who dared to be not just different, because they like different for the second-hander quality that allows them, but anyone who dares to speak the truth or dares to speak honestly and question things was quickly put in their place, and so and harshly harshly put in their place. So I mistake, because that was my existence when I was a little girl, and growing up even through my teens and my early 20s, when I was involved with the Greek community, when I was involved more heavily with my family, that anytime I tried to do anything, I was stifled, and it was a scary place. I have this fear now that the world is going to attack me for speaking out. I had this, I'm not sure if we ever talked about it on a podcast or not, but certainly this fear that if I come on air and start talking about psychology, that the psychological community was going to come after me because I'm saying something out of line.
Your licensing organization was going to attack you and take away your license and cripple you economically and so on?
Oh, absolutely. And these are of course irrational fears, and they're born out of my past and my history. But now it's affecting Free Domain Radio.
Now, you as a therapist have enormous and powerful insights about psychological truth and authenticity and integrity and self-development from that standpoint. We talked about your hostility towards your parents, and I think, as I mentioned in the conversation, when people say to me, well, you think that all Christians are corrupt, and I know some really nice Christians, and I was saying, well, all that says to me is that you're too frightened to confront the Christians, so you call them nice and don't push and don't confront them. Mm-hmm. Now, it certainly is true that you have never, in the way that we've sometimes talked about, or the way that I've described with my parents, you've never directly confronted your parents on their corruption.
No, never, ever, ever. Came close to it a few years ago, which is sort of what led to my separation from them, from my DeFOOing, but never have I come out and actually said, I feel this, and I've noticed this, and this is how I've been treated, and these are the things that you have said to me, and these are the effects that it has. I've never confronted them on those things. You were clear to point that out, and then I thought to myself, well, maybe that's part of what I need to do next in terms of really, really finishing this thing off with my parents. And no, it's not. There's a reason why I haven't done it, and that reason is that it would provoke in them, of course, and I talk about this with other people, all their defenses and anger, and I think it also would provoke even more rage in me. But there's a lot of rage in the fact that I haven't done that.
The ultimate vengeance is to not confront people. The ultimate act of revenge for a wise person is to not confront the unwise with their unwisdom.
Go on.
It's something that I've noticed as a younger brother as well as a son, that the people that I hate are the people that I don't confront. And that's exactly the opposite of what people experience. So the people who I love, you and some other people in my life, I will confront, which will make them, and this sounds like confrontational, like it's more aggressive than it is. Occasionally it can be, but for the most part it's mostly just firm, and it can be irritable as well. But the people that I love, I confront. And I will push them if I see the resistance and if I see the defensiveness. I will push them to get past that, to get to the true self beyond it. I will not take no for an answer. I will not back down in the face of obfuscation or misdirection or tangents or aggression or hostility or withdrawal. I will continue. You know me, I'm like a scud, right? I will just keep going and keep going and keep going.
It's extremely irritating.
It is enormously annoying, and I'm fully aware of that. It's enormously annoying to the listeners as well. It really is enormously annoying to everyone, that I will keep going to get through to the true self. That's the only way that I got through to my true self. I don't do anything to anyone that I haven't done to myself 1,000,000 times over. But it's because I love the listeners and I love you and I care for the world that I want to keep pushing until I get to the real truth, because that's how I was given freedom, and that's how I wrestled freedom from my own false self, and that's what I need and want and aim to give to those I care about.
I don't want to. I want to have the beer commercial life existence. Everybody sitting around a patio table, drinking a glass of beer, having a pool party, laughing and singing, and nobody's talking about anything, and nobody's bringing up issues, and we have a lovely house in suburbia, and we have jobs, and we can take vacations, and, and we have our kids, and we go to the park, and we play, and we have fun, and that's that. And that's what I want, I think. But that means.
No. Tell me more about what you want. Then we'll get to what you hate.
Well, that's it. That's what I want. I want, and of course, I want to have my clinic, and I want my husband to work at home and be an internet philosopher, and I want to pretend that everything is normal. That that we live a conventional life. But that's impossible. My husband is an internet philosopher who talks about truth and reality, and I deal with people every day, and I try to bring them truth and reality in their lives, and that's not conventional in any way, shape, or form.
Well, and you made me into an internet philosopher.
Yeah.
I am of your making.
Yeah. I mean, and I encourage this, and
No.
No.
That's not what I mean. Nice try, but that's not what I mean, and you know what I mean.
I fed you the ideas that made Free Domain Radio different than any other philosophical podcast.
Well, more than different. Different would be to say that my life is run by my bowl of oranges. But that's not what you made in terms of difference. You made it relevant. You made it personal. You made it have traction. You made it actionable. You gave, and not just in a comment, but in a series of lengthy discussions, you gave the basis of the show. The basis of the show is the logic of personal, and political freedom. I brought the political. Who brought the personal?
Sadly, I didn't. This is what I'm struggling with. I orchestrated this.
Orchestrated this.
We
you saw that I had
together,
a voice.
But I participated enormously in all of this, and now I hate it, and now I don't want to do it.
Not that that's a problem or anything.
No, not that that's a problem or anything. Women are the primary caregivers. Women raise men. And men are the leaders of this world. Let's be frank about this. I mean, the most influential people in this world tend to be men. Women stay home and raise kids, and yes, we work, and I know we're going to get a lot of flack from women, and yes, we work, and yes, we hold important jobs, and we contribute financially, and we do all these things, and we're smart and can go to school and get PhDs and all of that, but frankly, we're the ones who stay home, and we're the ones who raise the kids, and we're the ones who have the greatest influence on the way our children think, and the way our children behave, and the way our children feel, primarily, first and foremost, how children feel and express and experience their emotions. And I have the capacity to reach out to other women. I have to get over fear. And I think I've made some progress in that. I mean, I remember when you first wanted me to do an Ask a Therapist or talk into a mic or do a call-in show, I hated it. It was extremely uncomfortable. It's still uncomfortable. It's not as uncomfortable. So I have some fear to get over.
And do you remember what I said about your hatred of it?
What I hate, or what I fear? I'm sorry, of my
both. What you hated. Well, you felt fear, but you also felt extraordinary resentment towards me for giving you a microphone. And I think I certainly remember what I said about that.
What I hate the most, or what I fear the most, is exactly what I want the most.